Hello and welcome to Season 6 in Front Row Racing's World Championship. This is round 1 at Melbourne, Australia. I'm Front Row Racing GP, also known as Stevie Serbits. Joining me in the commentary box this evening, we have got Front Row Racing RI, also known as Rachel Brooks, who will be, like I say, in the commentary box and also hopefully down on the pit lane. How are you this evening, Ray?
I'm fine, guys.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
How ready are you then for this evening's race?
I'm all set and ready to go. I'm hoping it's a great one.
I'm hoping so as well, but I tell you what, I don't feel ready. It's we've been preparing, and the time has come, and I don't know. I just would have rather had another week, but I'm sure the drivers are ready. Well, I would say that hopefully the drivers are ready, but we are a few short at the moment, aren't we?
Yep.
I mean, if we obviously we'll give them a minute or two, but I'll go through the teams in a moment and we'll find out who has not made it into the lobby yet. Does somebody just disappear? Who was that went out of the lobby? I don't know. Somebody did. Anyway. Mr. Ray, what do you think then about the Australian Grand Prix, the start of the World Championship Season 6? What's your predictions for it?
A riot? Nah,
Riot.
Hopefully some good racing. Who would I say to be on pole? I'd put it between Front Row Racing DP, 10th Fear and Stocky.
That'll be a good call. Yeah. If we can get Kev 187 into the lobby, if he can get back on from work on time and get online, then he's got a good shout. So I've been aware of the times he's able to post. It's going to be difficult to beat, but we shall see what will happen there with that. So, teams and drivers. Hey, talking about teams, this season all the teams have been given the opportunity to choose team names, and there's some rather interesting ones. Would you like me to go through them with you?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Well, in the Mana Marussia, we've got Team Mode Red, same as last season, but they've gone from the car that they were in last season, which was the Williams, into the Mana Marussia. But they are Mode Red. They've kept the same name as last season, and that is Dave and Kev. Next on the list, we've got up the line in the Ferrari, and that is Overdykink and Jamie James. And in the McLaren, we have got Team Freedom with GT5 King and Connor. Connor doesn't seem to be in his McLaren at the moment, though. I don't know if he's in the lobby, but he's not in the McLaren. And next on the list, we have got Team Rising Lads in the Red Bull. There they are, Stocky and Bartman. Now that's going to be a good team. That will be a good team. What did you make of that team pairing, Ray?
It should be good. But who's going to come out on top? Oh, I forgot about Batman. He was proving quite one up there for the battling in the races. He upped his pace, so
Yeah.
I forgot about him for last season, sorry.
I mean, that is a team that could potentially be up there for the constructors. Definitely. Next on the list, we've got Flaming Dragons in the Mercedes, a Temp Fear and Dan Evs. And then we've got onto the Williams with the F1 Top Guns of Dave the Harp and James Hulkenberg. Now, James Hulkenberg, I'm pretty sure he was in the lobby a moment ago, but he's not in the car yet.
He's coming.
He's on his way, is he? Okay, hope he's got his tissues ready if he's coming. Right, and then last but not least on the list, we've got Landmark Racing in the Sauber. Down there we go, and that's Mornay. Normally joining Mornay would be Joe Finn, but we have just had notification that he's going to be unavailable for this evening. He's going to be returning back late from work, and that might be the case for a couple of the drivers out there. So looking back in the lobby, who are we missing? Do we have Kevin yet?
Just came online, so
Yeah.
he'll be on in a minute.
Okay.
Kev isn't online yet. Who else are we waiting on?
Well, we know Duo Finn's not going to make it. I mean, we're already just gone past half past the hour now. So if Connor has come on, I suppose this is only fair just to give him that 30 seconds. There he goes. He's in the lobby now. We'll give him time to get into his car. I did see him flash up at the bottom.
Did you say he flashed his bottom?
He did. He flashed his bottom. He's in the McLaren Honda. And I believe the only vehicle we're missing, and the only one we're unaware of, is Kev. Now, unless we know any different, no one said anything to us. Kev's meant to be here, but he's not. Can you have a quick look, see if he's online? If he's not, we might as well click go. Well, Front Row Racing DP is his teammate, and DP's click go. So, I'm clicking go.
No, he's not online.
Not online. It looks like he's not going to make it. That is definitely unfortunate for Front Row. For Front Row Racing, definitely. But for Kev 187, that's going to be a big shame. He's going to lose points straight away to the other guys on the grid. What was you going to mention, Ray?
Nothing, I was just laughing with your stutter.
You're laughing at me.
Yeah.
You were laughing at me.
Yeah.
Laughing at me?
Yeah. Usually it's with you, but I decided to laugh at you.
Charming. Okay, so the countdown has started. We're into the last 10 seconds for the session to start. And we'll get onto the loading screen, ready to go to the circuit. What sort of time are you expecting the cars to be making at this circuit, right?
A low 124. Or
That
if
should
I
be
was
good.
driving a 26.
Yeah. So its time has come to get to the track at Albert Park, Melbourne, for qualifying.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly.
Did you see that, Ray?
Well, it ain't 124s.
No. Maybe Kev 187 knew
30s.
something. Okay, let's have a quick read of the weather forecast. It says a wet start with the potential for showers. Potential? I'd say definite, because it's wet already.
I've got showers possible throughout.
Well, I wouldn't say they were possible, I'd say they were definite. So, first car out is Mornay. He is on the Inters, so it's not fully wet yet, but I don't think it'll be long before it'll be fully wet, because they were big raindrops.
I'm trying to have a look at it. I can't, because I've not retired, because we're using the pits. I was trying to see how, if there was any puddles at the edge of the track.
Well, I'm on the front wing at the moment on Mornay's car, looking for those puddles. And at the moment, it's just looking a bit more than mildly moist, but there's no wet patches. That's what I'll say.
I was up with me driving down the motorway last night. It was just what a shine on the road, and then there was spray everywhere.
I mean,
Rain.
yeah, in a Formula 1 car, there are no windscreen wipers. And if you imagine doing 70 mile an hour down a motorway without your windscreen wipers on, that's pretty much what it's like for the drivers, only they're not doing 70 miles an hour. They're doing, in some places, 170 miles an hour with no windscreen wipers. I mean, some people would say that it's bonkers. Well, I mean, why didn't they put windscreen wipers on the crash helmets?
Would it not annoy you? What if the motor went on fire?
I suppose there's no point in putting windscreen wipers on the crash helmets because, I don't know.
The coverage of, well, I don't know.
It would disrupt the airflow, I presume, and also the weight. It would look
Get
stupid.
the ones with the wee wings on it.
Yeah.
I'll push a guy's seat into the seat.
Okay, so we've got Mornay just at the end of Sector 1. He's done a 32.3. And do you know what? I'm going to struggle a little bit here because I know what sort of sector times he should be doing for the dry, but I'm a little confused already, you know, for these being a bit damp. It's going to confuse me when I see sector times popping up and I'm not going to recognise them. I'll tell you what I am going to do is I'm going to have a quick look back to see who else we've got on circuit, see what other sort of times we've got being set in Sector 1. We've got a very strange sounding Marussia, but I suppose it's not used to driving around the circuit in front row racing, apart from when the steward does it for his steward's guides, which are very interesting for all the drivers to watch on YouTube there, the steward's guides for each of the circuits. We've got Connor just coming up to the end of Sector 1, and he's set a time of 31.1 for Sector 1. So we've only had a few times set, but the fastest that I did just see somewhere was a 29 something, but then it disappeared, so I'm wondering if someone just abandoned a lap there.
I've only done a 136, so you still need a few seconds out there.
Yeah. So Connor's just done a second sector of a 24.1. And the clouds in the sky don't look like shifting just yet. But what I would say is, with it being Australia, when a break in the clouds does come, it doesn't take long for the track to warm up and for that track to go from wet to dry.
And the Barbie's out.
So here's Connor.
Barbie's out. Not the Barbie dolls.
Yeah.
The barbecues.
Connor's just set a lap time of a 1:32.1. So how does that compare? Well, it's put him provisional pole. So it's the fastest of what's been out so far. We've got Tempfear, who's in second position. He's just come and done a reasonably quick Sector 1 there with 30.7. What was you going to say, Ray?
Sorry, I skipped my words out. Coming down the back straight, it looks a wee bit brighter. It's not as dull. I can see a wee bit of blue sky through the clouds. So
Yep,
we
we're just
get some
heading up to turn 11, and we can just see that now. There is that break in the clouds just a little bit. The sky's a little bit of a lighter colour. Just going to stay on board with Tempfear just to wait for him to swing round and face through the direction a little bit, see if it's clear in more directions than one. Oh, and there's the darker cloud facing that direction, and that's the cloud that we're going to want to disappear.
Stockies went fastest with my 131.2.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it is getting dry then, because Tempfear's now gone down to 4th place, and I'm pretty sure he was in second at the start of this lap. And he's set a lap time of a 1:31.4. That's put him into second place. Let's have a quick look at the grid order. Oh, there it is. At the moment, we've got Stocky on pole at the moment, provisional pole, then Tempfear, then Front Row Racing DP, Bartman, Connor, Dan Evs, James Hulkenberg, and then Mornay. So yet to go out is Jamie James, and I was just about to say Overdyking, but it looks like Overdyking because it's just put a lap time in of a 1:31.8, which has put him into 4th place just behind Front Row Racing DP. Let's go and have a look, see if we can find out on the circuit.
And I'm just back from the Ferrari garage. They hope for a clean and wet race.
Ooh.
Have you been doing a lot of wet weather testing?
Well, I'll tell you something. It's surprising how many times Front Row Racing DP has loaded the game up onto dynamic weather, and it's been wet. And majority of the time for Front Row Racing DP, it has been wet for him.
And just as I came back in to watch, back into to the Sky Pad, or whatever we'll call it, the FRR pad, Jeremy James was wiggling about the track, so I don't know if they want it wet or if it's too wet.
Maybe they want it a little bit drier in places. It's like we'll be doing a special weather forecast for them soon. I've just seen Overdyking pull aside for his teammate to go flying by. James Hulkenberg in the Williams is out on a lap, I think. Yes, he is on a lap because he's done a 32.4 Sector 1, not the fastest of Sector 1s, but I don't know how that compares with his others, so we'll just see what happens as he comes up to Sector 2, timing 24.5 Sector 2. We'll come back and check on James in a moment, because I think that's not quite up there on the pace at the moment. Danevs is in the pits. Jeremy James is just starting another lap, or just maybe finished a lap. Mornay out on circuit on an out lap. Dave the Harp out. It looks like most of the cars are out on circuit. GT5 King out on circuit for Team Freedom. I'm going to see if I can try and remember some of these team names without having to keep look at my piece of paper, because I forget. I'm fear that every time I look down I'm going to miss something, so I'm going to try my best to remember these team names without having to look. Front Row Racing DP sounds like he's thrashing the nipples off his Marussia. Maybe that's his special way of making it faster. It sounds like it's stuck in first gear all the time, but it's not. We can see it's in 8th. Okay, clicking through some of the other cars. Bartman just set a lap time of a 1:31, which is taking him to P2. And one of the things I wanted to try and do in this qualifying session, Ray, was talk a little bit about some of the new things that we're trying to introduce, or we are introducing, or what Front Row Racing is introducing into the league this season. So very quickly, I just want to mention that the main thing that's different to last season is the fact that the drivers will be able to watch all the other drivers' footage after the event, and if they feel necessary, certain things like ETLs and pit entries can be reported if they see something out of place on somebody else's footage. What's your view on drivers and teams being able to do that?
Well, they do it in real F1. You see, if they see somebody going off track ahead of them, then the driver messages, gets on to the radio, to the garage, saying, "Oh, he's cutting corners and that. He's cutting me up, or changing his direction in the brake zone." And you'll hear them on the pit wall go saying, "We'll look into that." And then, although what the stewards aren't here watching this for us, well, unless they're watching the live stream at home, they can't hear. They don't know, so it'll be good. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. The drivers actually going there and double checking to make sure they were ETLing or corner cutting before they actually show quite a few to the stewards, and the stewards go look through the footage and go, "Well, he's done an ETL lift, we can't no further action."
Yeah, I mean, some drivers I know have been for it and some drivers have been against it. Myself as a driver, the way I see it is, it's the fairest way that Front Row Racing can do it, because the footage is there for anyone to see, and it's not about, for me, as I'm driving thinking, "Oh no, somebody's going to watch this." It's more about, if I make a mistake, let me correct it in the best way possible, because somebody might watch this. So all the time you know somebody could possibly see it, so you're always going to be, you know, in that thought process of, if I do an ETL, I'll better do my ETL lift in the correct place, because somebody could end up reporting me for it, rather than driving around thinking, oh, I wonder if I'll get away with that one. You know, there's a chance you might not. Now, some drivers' concerns are that drivers' footages will go unwatched. Well, not the qualifying laps, not their hottest laps in qualifying, because front row racing will still watch the fastest laps of each of the drivers in qualifying and check them for ETLs. Now, that's fair. When it comes to the racing, maybe not for the first race, but I can tell you what will happen in events to come. As soon as one driver gets given an ETL penalty because somebody else has reported them, that driver's going to go, well, if I'm going to get reported, I'm going to go and watch somebody's footage, and I'm going to make sure somebody else gets a penalty. I mean, that's how it's going to work, because the only thing is, you can't guarantee someone's going to get a penalty if they've done nothing wrong. So that's why it'll work well, because anybody could watch your footage and report you. So don't do anything wrong, can't get reported. Simple. Simples. Yep. So we're just looking at Dan Ev's 9th place. Can he improve? Is the circuit getting wetter? Is the circuit getting drier? The times are kind of stuck around a similar sort of time. It's still in 9th place. Let's have a look at the leaderboard, see where we are. Bartman is on provisional pole. Front Racing DP is in 2nd place. Then Stocky, Tempfear, Connor, Overdyking, James Hulkenberg. Sorry, just say that again.
It looks wetter to me.
You went through that phase, didn't it, of looking like it was drying up, but now I'm not so sure. I think we may have just gone past that stage. But you know what I've just thought about is how many of these guys have been out on the track for this full qualifying period so far. Why, if it's going to be a damp race, they could start running out of tyres, because the tyre wear around here is lethal. It's, you know, not very far at the best of times. Now, intermediate tyres, surely the tyre wear on those tends to be normally similar to the tyre life of a prime tyre. So they're going to have to be careful with how many sets of tyres they've been using, or burning up, or completely destroyed. I don't know. Something that I'm going to have to consider for tomorrow for the World Series. So Dan Ev's coming across the line to do another lap. Can he improve on 10th? 8th. He's gone 8th. So there is still a little bit of time in the track. Jamie James is 9th position, and he's just starting a lap, so we'll see he's coming around towards the end of a lap. Mornay's part way through sector 2. Bartman's just gone into turn 1 on an out lap. Front row racing DP. His rush is sounding much better. They must have swapped the engine in it. So as soon as we can hear this car correctly now, let's see if we can stay on board with him for a lap. I say stay on board with him for a lap. He's coming towards the end of his lap, but we'll see what time he's going to set here. He's done a 30.5 sector 1, 24.0 sector 2, coming around the last corner. We've got 2 minutes of qualifying left, just over 2 minutes left. And he's coming up to the end of the lap, and he's gone with a 1:31.0. I don't know if he's improved his lap time, but he hasn't improved his position.
1:31.057 is recorded time.
Yeah, it's very, very similar time. Okay, I'm going to stay on board him for a bit longer, because we're not really seeing much of Front Row Racing DP. I want to just see how he takes this lap. Yeah, I must say, I think it's probably at the wettest stage now, of what I've seen all qualifying, I'll probably say. But then again, it could quite well be deceptive, because just come round towards facing the same direction as we were looking earlier, along this back straight, and there's still a bit of that blue bits in the sky here and there. To turn 11 and 12, he's just gone through the sector 2.
2 to 3, it looks a wee bit more down for it. Might just be this just near the start finish.
Yeah, I think what it might be is it's because it's facing the darker clouds and not part of the circuit, which straight away you think, oh, it looks horrible, and it doesn't look brilliant, but I think it's all at the moment depending on which way the car's facing. So he's coming around the last corner to finish his lap and is not improved on it. He's still in second place. We've got 35 seconds left of this qualifying session, so I'm going to quickly go back to the leaderboard. Bartman on pole with a 31.0, then from Racing DP, then Stocky, then Tempfear, Connor, over Dyking, James Ilkenberg, Jamie James, Dan Evans, GT5 King, Dave the Harp, Mornay, and then me and you that haven't done anything. Back to the action. Let's have a look. It's going to kick me from this camera view in about 5 seconds time, and then it'll put me on the normal spectate mode, which is going to happen about now. There we go. So there's the confirmation of Bartman's fastest lap, and we are on board with Bartman, and he's going for the pit lane. So let's go find the next driver out on the circuit. And we're on board with Connor, currently in 5th place. I don't know what Sector 1 is set. I don't know what his previous Sector 1 times, but we're going to see if he can improve on his lap time. It's the first time I've seen the spectate mode at this event, and from this wider angle it does look a bit darker than it did it on board. Mornay's done a good job of moving out of the way, approaching turns 11 and 12.
Roar Racing DP over the line, and he goes first.
Yep, confirmation that just come up on the screen at a 1:30.7. Over Dyking moves out of the way for Connor, for Conzo 1993. I think I've just seen a bit of front wing. Nope, it must have been my eyes. So Conzo heads towards the line, currently 5th place. Will that change? I think he might have improved, but I think he stays 5th. Over Dyking is 6th place. Jamie James entering the pits in 8th. Dave Harp entering the pits in 11th. Mornay entering the pits in 12th. And I think that's it. That's all the cars. I believe that to be the qualifying session done with, because it won't let me view anybody else. Nope, that is it. There's no one else to cross the line. So Front Row Racing DP takes pole position for the first round here at Australia. And do you know who got pole last season? Kev. And he's not here. So Front Row Racing DP goes one up on him already. So there's confirmation of the order. I've just pressed the button too quickly and it disappeared off the screen. I was just about to read through that lovely order.
Bell in 1st place, we've got Front Row Racing DP, 2nd, Batman 2112, 3rd, Stocky 2790, 4th, Tempfear, 5th, Conzo 1993, 6th, Overdy King, 7th, James Hulkenberg, 8th, Jamie James, 9th, Dan Evans, and I don't know what the other it was too quick.
That was a good job of filling in there, because I had no chance. I saw Front Row Racing DP and I thought, oh yes, we all need to press X at this point, and oops.
The crowd are here, and they're here in numbers for the first race of the season. Welcome.
I've been kicked, Ray.
From Lobby?
Yes.
Okay. Need a safety car restart then.
So here we go, on the aeroplane again, all the way over to Melbourne, Australia. I thought I was getting tired, but I figured out what it is now. It's jet lag. I'm getting jet lag.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly.
So here we go for part 3 of round 1. Or is it part 4? So, I don't need to apply a setup. The other guys apply a setup and then they retire from the session. That way we can get everyone on the grid and ready to safety car start. So this gives the opportunity for every driver to have their setup on. It looks like we're going to... I didn't check the weather forecast, hopefully you guys saw it on the screen. It looks like it may be reasonably dry. But if any of the engineers wish to send us any messages about the weather forecast and give Front Row Racing RI a message on his PSN account or through YouTube, then we can comment on what the weather might be like, because once we've retired like this, we don't know. So is that everyone? Is that the job lot? There we go. Jamie James. He was the last one. So quickly, very quickly, I shall read through that order again for you guys at home. What we're going to be looking for is Front Row Racing DP in first place for this formation lap. And then we're Bartman, Stocky, Tempfear, Konzo, Overdyking, Hulkenberg, Jamie James, Dan Evs, GT5 King, Dave the Hart, Mornay and Kev. That was the order they qualified in, apart from Kev, who was late to turn up, who's been quite fortunate in this situation to be able to join in with the event. He's allowed to start from the rear of the pack. So I shall have to move to one side to let everyone come by, then everyone can get into their qualifying order for their formation lap. Front Row Racing RI will give them their starting orders and then we'll be underway.
The crowd are here and they're here in numbers for the first race of the season. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. And here are the driver grid positions for today's race.
Okay, so I do have vehicles around me, so I will need to be a little bit aware of what's happening, but I shall try and move to one side and get out of everybody's way, waiting for the lights to come on. As you can see with the ticks on the left, most guys are ready to go. So what we'll be doing here is I'll be moving to the left. I'll be going onto the grass, making sure I'm well out of the way for everyone else. Tell you what, it's a bit overcast, it's a bit grey out there. It could be possible to have a bit of a wet one. Okay, so just waiting for Kev to come by. There he goes. Now I don't want to retire too quickly, otherwise my car's going to catch them all up. So I wait for them to go around that corner up there. Let's get on board with that car on pole, see where he is. So we've got Front Row Racing DP in first place, Bartman in second, Stocky in third. This isn't the full race start yet. This is what we call a formation lap under safety car conditions, where the guys are just getting themselves into the correct order. So yeah, Bartman is in the correct place, Stocky's in the correct place, Tempfear is next, then it should be Connor, over to Kink, then it should be Hulkenberg. So we want over the Kink, and then Hulkenberg, but it's Jamie James, and then James Hulkenberg is just shortly behind. Now they're in the correct order. Then Dan Evans, GT5 King, Dave the Harp, Mornay, and Kev following up the rear. So, from what I can see, all looks good. We should be getting Ray back in the commentary box soon. Dave's picking up the pace gradually. He's not got too much further to go before he can start thinking about winding that pace up. When will he put his foot to the floor? He's on it. He's on it already. He's going. He's gone for it. Opening up a bit of a gap there between him and Bartman. Heading down into turn 1. That was a super fast lap there by Front Racing DP of 2 minutes 2 on the outlap. Oh, I just saw a car running wide. Who was that? A car running very wide. Wasn't Temp Fear. Who was it? Must have been his teammate. No, I'm getting confused at who was in what cars here. Bartman. Maybe it was just something that the screen was seeing, but I was seeing, but the screen wasn't. It looks like it was a Red Bull, but the Red Bulls are in correct positions, as in where you would expect them to be. Stocky's got... it's a bit difficult not knowing who's in what cars from, as in different from last season. It's going to be a little complicated to start off with, but we've got Bartman in second place, that's for sure. And then Temp Fear with Stocky following him shortly behind, then Konzo. Over the Kink is in a Ferrari. He's just come through turns 11 and 12. Following Connor in 5th place. Then we've got a Williams behind him who's James Hulkenberg. Dan Evans looks like he's going for a move on Jamie James. He's just backed out of it at that point.
Sorry, I'm talking, my mic's off.
Oh, you're back with us. Hello.
Yeah,
hello.
Hello.
You left me for 2 whole laps all on my own. No, it's okay. All right. What did you make of the safety car start? It looked all pretty clean to me.
Did it?
From what we could see, it looked all good.
I don't know what happened. I thought James Hulkenberg fell back a bit, but I don't know.
Let's have a look, see where James Hulkenberg is right at this moment in time. James Hulkenberg is in 7th place. That's where he started. It did drop. There was a bit of a gap. It did open up between him and over the Kink, but I think he just took his time getting into position more than anything. But, has anybody said anything to you, Ray, from the pit wall about weather conditions for this race?
No, I never even checked either. I'll check my messages in a minute. I'm just putting a wee message up on the live stream saying sorry about the technical issues. Yeah,
if you get time to, if you can go along the pit lane and get some information to do with the weather, that would be brilliant, because I tell you what, it's a little bit like they had in the qualifying session, where looking in one direction it's a bit grey and gloomy, looking the other direction it's looking a bit blue, and I think it's all going to depend on which way this weather's going to go. So what's surprising me is Kev still sat in 12th place.
Dan's he's got past Jamie James.
He's made a move. And that's Dan Evans in the
There's another move going on, the Ferrari and Honda. I don't know who it is. Is it GT5
that was
King?
No, what I've just... It was... Over the King's just made a move past Konzo. I've just seen that. Now, I'm not saying the other two aren't battling. They may be. So let's have a quick look, see if we can find those two as well.
Oh, so not Stocky's got a wee bit of laggy. I looked as if he went straight on. It's just a wee bit of lag. I'm going to check my pit wall.
Okay, if you could do that, that'd be great. Let's see how Front Racing DP is doing up at the front. He's opening up a bit of a healthy gap there. It's not telling us on this screen at the moment what that gap is, but when I jump onto the second car, it'll tell us. It's looking like it's going to be about 4 seconds or so at the moment, which is a nice lead to have in 4 laps. And something we've not looked at the moment is what tyres all the cars have started on. But I can see Front Racing DPs on the yellow wall tyres, which will be the options. And it looks...
There's no strategy from Red Bull and no team orders for Red Bull. It's guns out, all out.
Guns out, all out. That's the way we like it. And it looks like they could both be running on the option tyres as well. Now, what could be interesting here is when it comes to pit stops. Because you've got two cars that have got exactly the same amount of tyre life at the start of a race, because then neither of them have done qualifying on these tyres. And they both may want to pit at the same time, so whoever's in the front position gets that perfect call on the pit stop, or what possibly could be.
Then you can hang them out to dry.
Yep, you could. But
Well,
also, I think if I was the second car of the two, I'd be looking at doing the undercut on my teammate, because that's the sort of person I am. A bit of a shorter line through the corner, shall we say, there by Bartman.
Jamie James is trying to get back on Dan Evans, so as Dan Evans tyres, is he pushed too hard too soon?
I'll tell you what I am seeing, that's a little bit of lag by Stocky, so the other drivers may need to be a little bit cautious. So if there are any engineers listening in, might want to let your driver know that Stocky looks like he is just getting a little bit of lag. Not massive, not like we've seen in the past with Stocky, but there's just getting the odd bit of, what do we call it, warping. He's not skittish, he's gone past that stage.
Yeah. I'm just looking through the field, see how it's going. It looks pretty dry, so you've got... I think it's you've got three battles. You've got Bartman, Tempfear and Stocky, and then you've got Overdyke and James Hulkenberg, and then you've got Conzo, Daniels and Jamie James.
I've just
Conzo's down to 7.
I've just seen something here, and what it is, and I was going to say something which would have sounded like I was being a bit disrespectful to Dom, and not at all. I was going to say, it looks like he's a bit of a cork in the bottle and holding cars up here, but it is exactly what is happening, and it's not Dom that's doing it, it's the tyres. He's started on the prime tyres, and he's got a queue of cars following him that are on options. So I'm just see if we can... Yeah, so Dom's on the primes, then we've got James Hulkenberg on the options. Behind him, we've got Connor on the options. Then we've got Dan Evs on the options. Oh, we've got Connor into the pits.
Conzo, but hit the wall.
Yes, just caught that. Yeah, so that's the first pit stop, and it's now going into lap 7, which, to me, for saying it's tyres that you've not done qualifying on, that is an early pit stop. That is a very early pit stop. Unless he's trying to... Unless he knows something we don't know, like the weather may be coming, maybe getting worse, but if anything, I'm seeing a few more shadows appear from the trees, so might be getting brighter, not darker.
Oh, Stocky's lag. It showed me him in the wall. Oh, Batman's going for the move. I think Stocky's just letting him pass because he's shy. He must have been on the radio saying, "You're all over the place, let me pass safely."
Yeah, I'm wondering, whether with his car being a bit more twitchy like that, well, I suppose he doesn't see it, does he? And he just, if I was his teammate, I'd say, "You've got really bad lag, let me past," even if you haven't.
But then with his lag, it's going to make it harder. Oh, they're getting close together around this corner. It's going to make Tempfear harder for him to make a pass because of Stocky's jumping, but it seems to have settled the last half of that. Oh, Batman's made a mistake.
Well, Stocky's gone for the pits, has he?
They've got a crash in the pit lane.
No, I missed it.
Oh, but it shot Stocky out onto the racing line.
I've just seen that. Stocky's gone down the start-finish. Yeah, so that... I wonder what's happened there.
Front wing?
Let's have a look.
No, he's not front wing, so it shot him out the pit lane.
That's a double whammy then for Stocky. Not only was he involved in an incident, he's also got no front wing, and it looks like GT5 King has just let. Looks like GT5 King just let Stocky past him, but then realised Stocky's got no front wing, and then re-overtook him. So, moment of madness there in the pit lane. So, what's this done to the front order? Well, front racing DP, I don't think he's pitted yet. His tyres don't look like they have. He's still on the starting tyres. And in second place, we've got Bartman, who didn't pit yet. Again, that a shorter line around turn 12 than what everyone else is doing. And in third place now, we've got Dom, who's on the prime tyres, who wouldn't even be thinking about pitting yet. His tyres are going to be good for another 2, 3, 4, 5 laps.
Oh,
but he does have a car right behind him. It's Dan Evs.
Oh, he's in the
and Dom's
pits.
gone for the
They're
pits.
both in the pits.
Yeah, he's caught.
They're hitting the wall.
Yeah, he didn't lose his wing, but he definitely hit the wall. So we've got 3 car battle in the pits. He has.
The end plate, I think.
He might. Let's see if they change it. They haven't on this pit stop. Maybe they don't know about it. Maybe they'll do it on the next pit stop.
The pit lane is busy.
It's very busy out there. What's Front Row Racing DP doing? Did he come into the pits or did he carry on around for another lap?
I don't know.
He's on primes. He's pitted. He's on the prime tyres. So he pitted and came back out in first place. So there's a good chance that everyone else has pitted behind him. Let's see where his teammate is. Let's see if his teammates managed to hang it out for a bit longer. No, his teammate's on the prime tyres as well. What surprised me about all of this is the fact that Kev187 is only in 8th place. Now, I say only, yes, he started at the back of the grid. But I'm wondering whether he's kind of said, you know what? I'm lucky and fortunate to be in the race. I'm going to go with a stock setup and give everyone that little bit of a, not a chance, but of a, you know, my way of saying I'm fortunate. So I'm going to race, but I'm not going to race to what could have been my full potential. Is that something?
Dom's losing out to these pits, sorry, because he's down in 6th.
I'm trying to think what position he was before the pits. It was about 5th, but then with the... He'd overtaken Konzo, hadn't he, before Konzo lost his wing. So yes, I think he may have lost out. Yeah, Stocky.
Dan Ev's in front of Overdike King, and Dan Ev was battling with Jamie James.
Let's have another look further up this order, and I say up the order, I'm trying to get it onto broadcast mode. There we are. So Dave the Harp is in 10th place, Stocky is now in 11th place, Mornay 12th, Tempvere 13th. So there is Front Row Racing DP in first place, and his gap to Bartman is 6.5 seconds. That's a fairly large gap at this stage of the race for 10 laps in, for everyone to have done one pit stop. We've got Konzo then in third place in his McLaren for Team Freedom. I remembered that one.
He's on the options tyres. I think Hybrid Nick was looking.
Yes.
Sorry, the pit wall was messaging me asking what tyres he was on. Oh no, Hybrid Nick isn't their engineer, so that's another engineer for another garage looking for sneaky info.
Yeah, we have to be careful with that because it's okay for...
King's taking Dan Ev, sorry to butt in, and then James talking about Dan Ev's. He's been slow or something.
We've got 2 cars side by side, yes, James Hulkenberg and Jamie James. Oh, Hulkenberg's into the wall. Has he lost any of his wing in the Williams for Team F1 Top Guns? Well, he's still circulating.
It's all intact from what I can see.
Yep. And he's got Kev187 right up behind him now as well.
Jamie James is going for a move and Dan Ev's on the inside still. Dan Ev's not giving it up too easy. He's
Looks
making
like
him work for it.
We've got to move on the cards here in a moment, with Kev 187 lining up James Hulkenberg as well. So it's like the cars are driving around in pairs at the moment, all wanting to overtake each other. So if we've had pit stops on lap 7, 8, 9, the next round of pit stops for the guys that have gone back onto a set of options theoretically could be 15-ish, around about that lap, so another 4 or 5 laps time. Kev gone for that move on approach to turn 11. Is he going to be able to hang it around the outside 11 into 12? He's backed out of it. Might be a wise thing to do there. I would say a wise thing to do. You don't want to lose out and be in the wall. I'm not saying that that's what would happen, but an overtake on the DRS might be an easier option.
Jamie James hasn't letting Dan Evans away, right up his gearbox.
Let's go and have a look. So Jamie James is right up the gearbox. Yeah. You should have the DRS.
Open, sorry.
Yeah, it is open. It looks like he's going to be going by.
No contact.
Oh!
Touch.
It gave me a horrible camera angle for that. But now Kev 187 is going past Jamie James. So Kev's got past. No, he hasn't got past James Hulkenberg. It's because Jamie James lost out in that turn 1 overtake attempt.
Oh, there's a move up ahead. Oh, went the wrong way. James Hulkenberg on Dan Evans. Yep, James Hulkenberg must have got a head when that just after that contact.
So at the moment then, if this we're almost coming up to the halfway point in this race already. The big winners and losers so far, well, you've got to say that Dave's been a winner so far. He's just been able to just do what he does best, focus and pull away a little bit of a lead at the front. The big losers, though, has got to be the guy that lost the wing in the pit lane, which was Stocky, wasn't it?
Stocky.
Well, it didn't just lose his wing in the pit lane, it chucked him out of the pit lane. So he had to do another lap without it.
Yep. That was a big...
Dan Evans lining up a move for turn 1 on James Hulkenberg. Oh, there's contact wheel to wheel. They're both still going, though. Now, might James Hulkenberg try and retake this position back down into turn 2? He's gone for it. There's room been left for him from what I could see. But Dan Evans has held the position. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to quickly run through the... no, I'm not. I'm going to keep watching this battle. I can't run through the order. I've got a feeling something's going to happen here.
I'll go through the order while you when you butt in.
Okay.
So first place we've got Front Row Racing DP, then following Bartman 2 seconds behind is Bartman. Third is Overdye King, he's a further 4 seconds behind Bartman. Then we've got Konzo, he's about a second behind Overdye King. Then we've got Dan Evans, James Hulkenberg, Kev 87, Jamie James, all in this pack that you might be seeing on the live stream. Then you've got GT5 King not that far behind him in 9th place. Then you've got Stocky, he's up in 10th place. 11th, 10th Fear. What's happened to 10th Fear?
We've just had a car enter the pits and it's a McLaren. So that's a Team Freedom car. James Hulkenberg is going for a move into turn 1 on Dan Evans. Dan Evans has turned in on him. There's wheel-to-wheel contact. They're both going to be in the wall. Kev 187 has taken the position. Dan Evans is going slow. It looks like he may have been thinking about waiting for the other car there. What happened to James Hulkenberg? James Hulkenberg was the car that was trying to make the move. James Hulkenberg is in 7th place. Does he have all his vehicle? I think he has. I think he may have got away lightly with that one. Now,
I'll come down and check.
It looked like he's got all his front wing. I wouldn't like to say who did what there, whether one car should have given more room to the other. It was a bit awkward to see on the camera angle we had at that point, but there was definitely contact. And it's the sort of thing that James Hulkenberg will not like. I can pretty damn sure he'll be saying something about that inside his crash helmet. And I'm sure Dave the Harp, who's in 12th place, will be able to hear all about it, his teammate. So the gap between Front Racing DP in first place and Bartman in second place has come down to 2.6 seconds. But the reason for that gap coming down is Bartman is on the option tyres and Front Racing DP is on the primes. So it's expected that gap to come down, but it's lap 15. Those option tyres that Bartman's been on are going to be coming to the end of their life. The tyres that Front Racing DP's on are still going to be good for a couple more laps. But sort of that switchover point where... Go on.
From the Ferrari garage, Dom lost a place on the pit stop because waiting another car. And then there's one saying from the team engineer, Jamie James, wasn't given enough room by Dan F, so he almost hit the wall.
Ooh.
So it's so busy down here.
It's going to be interesting to get some of the comments from the drivers after this event on their thoughts. But comments from the drivers after the event are always interesting to hear. But it can completely change their view once they see any footage, especially footage from other people's perspectives. So
okay.
It'll be
up to 4th place.
Yeah, it's just slowly come through that order, kept it clean, and everyone else has been battling and had their little excursions, shall we say.
I went to see what was happening in the pit lane, and now everybody's spread out.
Well, over the kink.
Over the kink. Yep, on you go, sorry.
He's entering into the pit lane. So if you can tell me what tyres he goes on to, that would be great. You keep an eye on him while he's in the pit lane. I'm on board with Kev187, who's also entered the pit lane.
At the moment, it looks as though it was options, but it might change. You know how the glitches are. Yep,
we've got Kev187 that's put the options on. I don't think they're going to go. Yeah, they're not going to go to the end from this point. So looks like those two drivers will be making another pit stop. That's put just to give you some perspective of how tight the order is. Kev, when he pitted, was in 4th, and he's now in 9th. So it's very tight. Okay, yes, the other guys are going to be pitting again, and it's going to bring him back up the order. But it didn't take long for that amount of cars to go by.
I don't think Dave the Harp's got a front wing. Something's happened.
Let's have a look.
He's not got a front wing. I'll check if
he's definitely not.
Ready. Yep, that's a replacement going on. So you lost his front wing somewhere. I don't know where.
Well, that won't make him happy. That's put him down to 13th place. Front Racing DP though is about to lap him. He has lapped him. So Front Racing DP is into turn 1. Now is Front Racing DP on the prime tyres still? He is. Now there's a good chance then that he's not done his second pit stop.
Rian hit the wall.
No, not Rian.
I think he's kept his front wing intact. Yep, he has.
Was it the pit wall, was it?
Yeah, the pit walls. They'll need to replace that at the end of the race.
The pit wall. Yeah.
Oh, somebody's came out of the pits and is side by side. It's Batman and Overdye King. So yep. Overdye King is gained on Batman.
Yes, Overdye King pitted fractionally earlier for the second round of pit stops, so would have got a bit of an undercut. But also, Overdye King was on the prime tyres early, and he's on the option tyres, I believe, now. So, whereas Bartman's on the prime. So, Overdye King has got the faster tyres at this point. But Bartman may be able to squeeze this set of tyres out to the end. Whereas Overdye King, no chance of stretching the options out to the end. No, I can't see that happening at all.
And Dan Evers up to second place with the pit stops. James Hulkenberg's
Let's
up
have
to
a look.
third.
Dan Evers is 16 seconds behind Front Row Racing DP, He's just going across the start-finish line. I was just wondering whether it was going to put him up a place or not. It hasn't, which means Front Racing DP's gone round for another lap.
Batman's got Conzo behind him. The Flying Scotsman's getting up there. He's trying his best. Even though that's not his nickname. I don't know what his nickname is.
So if
I just know he's Scottish.
yeah, so if he's the Flying Scotsman, what does that make Rian? Because you can't have two Flying Scotsmen.
No,
It's a very interesting race. We've had quite a few overtake attempts. We've got cars now on opposite tyre compounds to what they started on in their little battles. Bartman was in second position for quite some time, and he's just starting to get down the order a little bit now as he's having to make use of the prime tyres at some point in this race, which has come now. And he's got Conzo to keep him company there on those same compound of tyres. Let's go and have a look at Over the Kink. He's in fourth position. He's on those... Oh, James Hulkenberg's gone for the pit lane. James Hulkenberg was currently in third position at that point. Well, that's going to knock him down the order a little bit while he does his pit stop. Over the King's up into third now then. And he's 25 seconds behind Front Row Racing DP at this point. And he'll be hoping that... Go on.
It said James Hulkenberg was on primes and then he's went back on the primes. Is he taking his primes to the end?
He will now be taking... If it's gone out on the primes now, he'll be now taking them to the end. Yeah, so he's done the options at the start. And then he'll be doing prime. So he's making sure he's doing a two-stop strategy. Whereas somebody that's doing two lots of options running is risking doing a two-stop. It's almost impossible. I say almost impossible because there was no qualifying time set on those option tyres. So you could, if you're careful with your tyre life, you could stretch them out. But it's still going to be difficult. For me, this is a three-stop race. Two-stop if you're going to do two lots of primes running. James Hulkenberg, it'll be interesting to see where he is at the end of the race. And do you know how I was saying earlier on, Bartman might be going to the end of the race on his prime tyres, you see. Well, where is he in relation to James Hulkenberg?
Well, I've just heard from the Red Bull garage that Bartman's going for DP. So he's sitting fourth now and James Hulkenberg is ninth.
Ninth, but that's where Hulkenberg will come back through the order as other guys have got to do their pitting. Right, so Bartman's going for DP. Well, DP at the moment is in second place. He has pitted again, which will be his last pit stop now for his option tyres, and which has put, I believe it, Dan Evs up into first position, with DP catching him up. So Dan Evs is on the prime tyres. I'm trying to remember what lap he pitted on. Fair few laps ago, if I remember rightly. So he'll be looking at doing another pit stop towards the end of this race.
Conso's got a wee train behind him.
A wee train?
Yeah. Jamie James and Kev 187.
It is a train, isn't it? Kev's right up the chuffer of Jamie James, and it looks like he's gone up the left hand side. He's got it.
Is he going to do a double?
Brave.
Oh, he backed out, but oh no, there's three
wide.
Clench your bum cheeks. And he's done it.
He's done it. Great overtaking there. And that's the sort of thing that makes you end up taking bike chunks out of your race seat. I'm just looking now to see if a driver's going to go for the pits. It is. It's Jamie James. He's gone for that pit lane.
And I think Consoles went with him.
So Kev's looking quite strong in this race at this point. He's gone onto those option tyres to finish the race on. He's in fourth place now, and there's cars ahead of him that still need to pit.
Yeah. So he done it Did they not do that last time here? Was it this track? You went with a 6 default setup?
I can't remember if it was this race. I know he ended up having to do it at Silverstone because he had problems with the lobby.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's done it before, so there's nothing to say he can't do it again.
Exactly. Well, what I can tell you is we've got Over the Kink in second place, only 1.1 seconds off Front Row Racing DP. Now, that might be a bit of a false gap, and the reason why I say false gap is I believe at this point Over the Kink might need to do an extra pit stop than Front Row Racing DP. I think DP's pit stops are all done with. Over the Kink might be coming into the pits any point soon. I say any point soon, and he's in the pits. So if you let us know let us know what tyres is going on at this point. I think there's only one set of tyres that you could go on really, which is the options. Who's next in line? This is going to put Kev up into third place. This is going to put Kev onto the podium, potential podium position, and he's going to be hunting down Bartman. He's hunting down the Bartman, yeah, that's right. So Bartman on the
option tyres.
Yep, good.
And he's came out 5th behind Dan Eves.
Oh, that'll please him, that will.
We've got James Hulkenberg and GT5 King battling it out, coming down into turn 3. Hard on the brakes, down to about, I wrote this all out. At turn 3 you're looking at 60 mile per hour mph maximum. And then this turn you go from 155 down to about 85.
I've driven these cars around here and I didn't even know that. Let's see.
Yeah. I'm up in my information.
For me, turn 4, which is turn 3, which is the right-hander, it's a second gear corner. Turn 11 and 12 that they're in now, depending on your tyre wear and your tyre life.
120 to 130 mile per hour through that chicane. Imagine that.
That's pretty quick. What I do know is that it tends to be about 5th or 6th gear. So the sort of speed you can do in 5th or 6th gear in one of these cars. I just thought we were going to see another car heading towards the pits there, but it wasn't. It was just GT5 King trying to make the last corner on his prime tyres. He's around there okay.
You got 7 seconds between Front Row Racing DP and Bartman.
So
I said Bartman would be there somewhere.
You did, and you're not wrong so far. I feel sorry for Stuckey with what happened to him on the pit stops. He's in 11th place. He's one position out of the points at the moment, and it's a fair way, between him and the next. I say it's a fair way between him and the next car. There's a car in the pits, and I believe it to be a Mercedes. What car's that?
I'll go and check. That'll be Daniel. No, Mercedes are out in track.
Stuckey's just gone down the start-finish and overtaken a
It was a Sauber. It was Moni.
Oh, right. Okay. So there we are. Moni's in 12th place, so there's another car out there that I've not seen. Temp Fear. That's the one it was. He is in a Merc. Not seen much of Temp Fear in this race, but bit of a late pit stop for him now. He's only got a handful of laps left to do on this set of tyres. Might have been better off pitting a little bit earlier.
James Hulkenberg got past GT5 King. GT5 King's in the pits.
Some quite late, unexpected pit stops.
That releases Kev 187. Let's see what.
I think what's happened here is some of the drivers have not necessarily not worked out the strategies, but may have come into the race not knowing exactly what the full potential were for each set of tyres. So they've got to the point where there's 5 laps left and thought, oh, these tyres I'm on are not going to get to the end. I'm going to need to do another pit stop.
Dan Evans in third place, over King. Yeah, that's right, over Kings. He's not made much of a game. I think he's fell back from Dan Evans.
Dan Evans is on the options as well, so yeah, they've both done what should be their last pit stops. On lap 24 out of 29, which will make Front Row Racing DP on his 25th lap. I'll tell you what would be nice to see is an onboard. I'm trying to get an onboard perspective of a Front Row Racing DP lap from cockpit view. Let's have a look at this. Here we go. We're coming up to turn 6 and 7. Third gear corner, fourth gear corner. Went round turn 8, up to turn 9 and 10. Try and touch the sausage curb but don't drive over it. He's looking very comfortable and smooth at this point. I'll have a look in a moment what the gap is to the car behind, but I want to stay on board to see through turns 11 and 12. Bit of curb on one side, bit of curb on the other side, and then a bit of curb again. Very nice and smooth.
I think Dom's engineers told him to push because he's right up the back of Dan Evans. He's going for a overtake move coming down to turn 11 and 12.
Let's have a look.
He's made a pass before turn 11. Nice out
He's
of
made
turn
it stick.
12. But Dan Evans still, he's not dropping back, so Dan Evans could get the slipstream. Oh, getting close here. Get the slipstream down the start straight, and then Dom will have to do it all again. Oh.
He will have to do it all again. Making the overtake into the DRS is a very good place to overtake. Dan's had a bit of a wobble.
Yep.
He's just dropped off the back of him a little bit too much there. And he should have had the DRS anyway, but I think the gap has just opened up too much now for him to actually attack. Will he be able to get him at the end of the next straight though? Possibly, because he'll get DRS again. Is he close enough? He's not close enough, unfortunately. He's just lost out a bit at the end of that lap. But this could be now where it all came down to who pitted at what point. Oh, yes. Go on.
We've lost one of the... I don't know if it's Maverick or Goose, one of the F1 Top Guns. We've lost James Hulkenberg from the race. He's retired. I don't know if there was damage or what.
All I saw was him slam his brakes on and everyone else flew right on by. If you could get down to that Williams garage and find out for us off James Hulkenberg, get a quick comment, that would be great. Let's see if you can get a quick comment, see what happened there from him, that would be good. Over de Kink is just pulling away a little bit from Dan Evans. And Bartman in second place is 12.5 seconds behind Front Row Racing DP. Looking quite comfortable for a second place finish at the moment. Lap 26 out of 29. Let's have a little run back through the order then. Like we said, Dan Evans was in the 4th place. Kev 187 is in 5th place. Has he got a chance of catching the others up in front of him? Well, it's Kev. Anything can happen. And normally in Formula 1 it usually does. Jamie James in 6th, Connor in 7th, GT5 King in 8th, Stocky into the water, no, that's Stocky's lag, in 9th place, Tempfear in 10th place, who's starting to catch up the back of Stocky. This might be where the tyres on Tempfear's car are just working that little bit better at this point in the race than Stocky's ahead of him. Mornay in 11th place, Dave the Harp in 12th, who's already lost his teammate in this race, and waiting to hear back from Ray to what happened on that.
It's a long walk. My legs are sore.
He wanted to park closer to home, did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jamie.
I thought you was on about you saying it's a long. Yeah, it's you saying it's a long walk, not for him. Yeah, sorry, mistaken.
Oh, Jamie James is wide, way wide on that turn 11, 12. So that's gave Conzo a wee gap, a wee bit of
Bit of breathing
There's a yellow
space.
flag ahead. Has something happened?
I think it was a lot of leaves on the track, but I don't know why it brought out yellow flag. I think if anything it... Oh, Jamie James, lap 7, he's gone for the pits. Lap 7, position 7th. Lap 27, but he's been lapped, I believe, or close to getting lapped by the leader. This might actually cause him to get lapped. He's lost the front wing, that's why. He's had a front wing replacement. He's had to pit. He's lost one position because of it, but he might have the chance to get it back.
Bartman. Oh, Bartman. It's very
Puncher,
slow.
I hear it. He's got Dan Evs up behind him, nudging him, pushing him along. But he's got a puncher, he can't go any faster. He's down to 4th place. Bartman's down to 5th place. It's all over for Bartman. His chances of getting a podium have gone.
Why the yellow flags were out then?
Quite possibly, yeah. Bartman's going to lose another position. No, he's not. That's That's Dave the Hart.
Stocky and Temp Fear are quite close as well.
Yeah, I'm just jumping on board though. Sorry, with Front Racing DP. Just checking. He's on lap 29. He's just started lap 29. I would like to try and catch him across the line if we can. So, would you say Stocky and Temp Fear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan Evs and Kev. Kev's coming to take over Dan Evs. He's coming down the start funny straight. He's got it done. They're breaking into the turn 1, turn 2. Dan Evs is on the power a wee bit early. You'll have the DRS. Kev's going defend. No, Kev's got the DRS.
It's a double DRS. Whoever gets it in the first stage,
Okay.
first straight gets it on the second. But because of what happened to Bartman, getting a puncher has now made promoted Kev to the podium. Let's jump back to Front Row Racing DP. Let's find out how close he is to finishing the lap. He's just gone through turns 11 and 12. In second place we've got Over the Kink, 18 seconds behind Front Row Racing DP. Then we've got Kev, who's 22 seconds behind Front Row Racing DP. So Kev's 4 seconds off the back of Over the Kink. I don't think he's going to be able to catch that up. Front Row Racing DP has got one more corner to go. And this is the first time I'll have said this. We've got a Marussia crossing the line in first place.
And the Batlon hasn't finished. Stocky and Temp Fear are close together. This could be a late lunch in one corner or something to get past.
Over the Kink is just round the last corner. He's approaching the line. He's taking second place. Kev 187 is coming around the last corner now as well. And he is taking the third place on the podium, with Dan Evs in 4th place. So we've still got a battle on track. We've still got Temp Fear and Stocky at it.
Yep,
Ooh, big sideways from Temp Fear.
I think that's gave Stocky that wee bit of gap he needs to get down to this straight.
I think it's just giving it him, and I think Temp Fear has just taken a big deep breath and thought, oof, at least I've not hit the wall and wrote the car off, and I'm going to be able to cross the line and get some points for the team. Jamie James crosses the line in 9th place. So if there are any engineers or drivers...
Batman's ran out of fuel.
He's just crossing the line. It looks like he has. Yes, in 10th place, bagged a point. Could have had 2nd place, maybe 3rd place. Ended up at the back. So, Front Row Racing DP first, Over the Kink second, and Kev 187 in 3rd place. How many times have we said a podium like that over the last few seasons? But what we haven't been able to say before is Marussia take a win. Go on.
Yeah. James Hulkenberg spun. No info on damage though.
Hopefully we'll get some more information later. What we're going to try and do now is invite the top 3 into the chat party. So that's Front Racing DP, Over the Kink and Kev 187. Get them into the party here so we can have a bit of a podium questions with them. Dan Evs had a small penalty as well, so Kev didn't actually need to overtake him, just needed to keep with him. But as I was saying, while we're waiting for these guys to come into the podium, if there are any drivers or engineers listening in at the moment while we're live, if you wish to send any information into Front Row Racing RI on his PlayStation, on his PSN account, he'll be able to read through some bits of info, and we'll be able to read up on it in a moment, or Ray will, and might be able to include it.
Guess what we've never done?
What we're not done?
Driver of the day.
Evening, gentlemen.
We can discuss that in a moment. Unless you... Evening, Dom, we'll be with you in one brief moment. Unless you think, Ray, there is somebody that comes straight to mind and you think deserves it over and above anyone else.
I think it'll be the same as you. What? Worst driver of the day? Was that?
Yeah, driver of the day, definitely. Definitely Dom.
See,
I think I'll be on the same boat as you. Steve.
Yeah, well, we'll keep it to ourselves for now, and we'll talk about it, I think, right at the end once we've kicked everyone else out of the chat party.
Hello.
Hello. Right. Ray, can you confirm that we've had all three drivers join us in the party?
You can. I can't do Scottish, but yeah.
Yes, you have.
Cheers, Ray, for that. And right, Front Row Racing DP takes the win then, and you are on the top step, taking the win at the first race. Again, it has to be said. Last season, you took the win. But not only that, this season you've took the pole and the win. Do you think that was mainly down to the fact that your teammate didn't turn up for qualifying?
I think there's a big part of that, yeah. But with the wet qualifying, I didn't actually expect to be on pole because my setup hasn't been great in the wet. Although with a bit of wet running I've done, it was made so that if it did go wet, I'd be okay. So I was well chuffed that I got pole. Had Kev been in there, it may have been a lot closer in qualifying. I don't know if he's done any quali runs in the wet.
Well, I'll ask you that in a minute, Kev, but I want to ask you first, DP, how much do you normally do in the wet? I mean, well, before you answer that, I want you to answer it in two stages. I want to know how much practice you would normally do, but also how much practice you would think other drivers would normally do or should expect to be doing in the wet for these events.
Okay, how much practice I do in the wet all depends on the lobbies, what the track's like when we do our practice sessions. If it's a wet session in practice, we don't always go, oh, let's restart. It's okay, let's see what the setup can do. I mean, I would at least suggest somewhere, if you spend about an hour in the wet, it's going to give you an idea of whether your dry setup would work or not, and possibly a bit of time to make adjustments. I mean, the practice session we did Monday night, that was really wet, and I knew by the end of that, yeah, that setup ain't going to work. So, yeah, I mean, you've got to spend a bit of time in the wet, because if you don't and it rains, you may get caught out.
So are you saying that you should compromise a dry setup in case of the event of a wet?
Difficult one. Not necessarily compromise, no. But know what to do. Whether it be add front wing in the pits, and if you are going to add front wing, whether that amount you add is going to work with the rest of your setup.
Great stuff. All right, we'll come back to you for another question after I've spoken to the other two. So second on the podium was Dom. Dom, good second place. How did qualifying go for you, though, to start off with?
I got caught out by the qualifying. We did do some practice in the wet, but clearly not enough to be in the front row. We didn't have very good laps. We could have done way better, but yeah, that's how it sometimes goes. Sometimes you just you just mess up your qualifying lap, and then you're in 6th place, and then you got to work from there.
Something I'm quite used to.
No, not really. But anyhow, like the restart of the session allowed me to start the race on the prime tyres, which I did. And in the end, that was very good because I was able to keep up with the guys in front on the prime tyres and was able to overtake Connor.
Yeah.
And from there on, I was just pushing on the options as soon as the prime set was done. And then obviously Bartman had a puncture at the end, and that gave me second place.
Yeah, it was just something I was going Something I was going to mention to you was the prime tyres at the start of the race. From what we could see, you were the only car that opted for the prime tyres at the start. Was that something you were always going to do, basically, in that sort of situation where everyone else is probably going to go for the option tyres? I'll go for the prime, do something different, try and be a bit different, especially when you've not got that optimal grid position that you'd have wanted.
Well, that's mainly the thing. If my qualifying hasn't gone well, then then the prime tyre is more is more of an option to start the race on. And when the ability was there, I took it, and then it paid off. I mean, it's paid off in the past races that I've had with the prime tyre at the start of the race, and it paid off today.
Well done in your second place, and hopefully for the next event you can get a bit higher up on the qualifying, and you never know, maybe one more step up on the podium. So, well done.
Cheers, mate.
Can I just ask, Dom, why was your engineer saying you were hoping for a wet race?
I do like the wet conditions. I really like the wet conditions, especially because we had basically every race dry except for the one track that you don't want it to be wet on, which is Monaco. And so we had 18 out of 19 races were dry, so it is nice to see how every driver just copes with the wet conditions. So in that sense, I hope for a wet race just to see how it went, but didn't see that, unfortunately.
Well, I'm sure you'll be hoping for more wet races through the rest of the season, apart from Monaco. Or Singapore, because that's another bogey track of yours. But anyway, moving on. Third place, Kev 187. Somebody I wasn't expecting to speak to today after the race. Or
Someone wake him up.
Yeah, wake up, Kev.
See how he says he doesn't need an engineer, he needs one now.
Yeah, it needs to be called Casio.
Okay, you can ask you a question. Is it Kev 187 or Kev 817?
187.
It's deliberately said wrong to wind him up. How did it seem, Kev, coming through from the rear?
Pretty horrible.
Was it a bit mucky at the back?
Well, not that, it's just no warm-up, so locking up, going deep, turning too early, all sorts. Wasn't particularly driven well.
No, I
couldn't take the tyres as long as I would have liked because I was locking up quite often, and
we noticed at the start of the race.
Third, though.
Yeah, definitely. I would be starting from the rear and coming third. That's not bad at all. But best you could really hope for, really, from that sort of position when you've not done any practice today because you've been asleep.
Yeah.
But we weren't sure whether at the start of the race, whether you were off the pace because you'd not got into it yet, because you'd not woke up properly yet and you'd been a bit flustered or whatever, or whether it was the fact that you thought, do you know what, I'm lucky to actually be in the event, so I'm going to give some of these guys a little bit of a chance by going with a stock setup, because that's what would have happened if I'd have been disconnected and at the rear.
Oh yeah, I definitely went with the stock setup. And then no, I was trying my best and I just wasn't very fast at the beginning.
So in a way you were
that's simple.
You were fortunate then that the event had to be started because of what happened earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not because of only being able to take part, but for the fact that you were able to put your setup on as well, because going with a stock setup, I don't think you would, well, you'd probably say yourself, you probably wouldn't go up to third place.
No, probably not, no.
Well, yeah, well done, and remind your teammate to wake you up next week.
Oh no, I couldn't believe it.
I did message him about 7 o'clock.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, you know why it is,
First time
actually.
I've done it in a few weeks.
Somebody told me, I got a bit of information last night, it was quite late last night, that you need to go to bed earlier. Because
Yeah, definitely.
I got told that you keep turning up late for work, or getting up late for work, and here we see again, you're late.
I was banging on this morning, actually. That's what's doing it. I was up earlier.
No
Right.
excuse, mate. I was up early as well. I only had 3 hours of sleep, so that's no excuse.
The problem with Kev was he ended up going back for more sleep. Right. Front Racing DP, come back to you as winning. How does it feel to take a win in a Marussia?
It's good. It's good. I think what's probably surprising and might surprise a few people is that it was on a two-stop strategy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, noticed that during the race.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to do a two-stop. I mean, if you qualify, two-stop's not possible. But it was at the start of the race that I was like, okay, let's get to lap 6, 7 and see how we're doing. And at that point, I'm pulling out a bit of a gap still. It's like, okay, let's just keep going and keep going and keep going. If we can get anywhere near 9, it's possibly on. And once I put the primes on, I realised that a couple of the cars behind me were on options. Yeah, they're catching, but then I saw that point where Bartman's tyres were going off. And, I mean, his tyres must have only lasted 6, 7 laps
His
before
tyres
they went off.
didn't just go off. At the end of the race,
punctured.
they exploded.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, when that happened, obviously that did become a bit of a concern for myself, but once I was on the primes and I'd got to sort of lap 17, it was like, right, okay, you don't have to go for lap times, you don't have to push, just get it to the end. And it worked, so very pleased, and I think that makes it 5 wins in a row as well. I could be wrong on that one.
You probably are,
Yeah.
but never mind. You're just
Yeah.
trying to make your head grow a bit bigger. But anyway,
Oh yeah.
thank you for answering the questions, and even though you gave us an essay on that last answer, for how was it to win in a Marussia,
When does he know?
I tell you what, his answers on this are just like his text messages to me, 3 pages long. All right. Anyway, I need to say thank you to all 3 of you for finishing on the podium, and good luck in next week's race, which will be at Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yes, Malaysia. So get plenty of wet running in, because it's normally quite wet
I
there.
want to get into that, guys. Shall we just put a rule in that you have to go on the wet tyres in your first stop at Malaysia?
Even if it's dry.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yes, you do.
Oh yes, yes. Dom does anyway.
Well, I don't understand that rule.
I
Why,
think it's a
why
bit
would you do that?
Is it?
It's a Dom thing.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah. Well done, Dom. Well done, Kev. Well done, everyone
well
else.
done,
Cheers,
Kev.
Steve. Cheers,
No
Rick.
problem. If you 3 would like to depart, then I'm going to have a quick chat with Ray about any information that he may have received. So then, Ray, do you have any information? Cheers.
Well done,
Dom.
lads. See you later.
Cheers, guys.
Well done,
Ray,
Dave.
have you been up and down the pit lane 3 times?
Yeah, but nobody wants to talk to me.
Have they all ran the other way? Have they all ran the other way?
James Hulkenberg, his tyres were gone, so I think he just gave up.
That's a shame. Because, do you know what? If he hadn't have given up, looking at how the other guys were doing, they were all struggling.
Yeah.
So you would have had a situation where, yes, James Hulkenberg was struggling on his tyres, but Bartman's tyres went pop. We had
Yeah.
guys pitting with, like, Jamie James on the last lap, effectively which ended up being the last lap. Well, it's his last lap. So it wasn't just him. Even for me in these events, even though you get really annoyed with certain things that may happen, and you can look back at lap 1 and say, that's ruined my race. You finish the race, you may bag a point, which this season could be the difference between getting the car you want to be driving next season or having last pick. So for me, it should, bag the points while you can. You never know what might happen to the other guys if you're struggling, there's a good chance the other guys are struggling. But anyway, yeah, that's James Hulkenberg.
Out there.
Yeah.
There could be a puncture out there. Nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, well, hopefully over the next coming events, a few more of the drivers might feel a little bit more like they may want to talk to us and send us a few more comments. We shall see what will happen with that in future events. So all I've got left to say, Ray, is thank you very much. And I understand you're back on commentary tomorrow for the World Series, which I'll be taking part in on the track. Hopefully on the track, not off it.
The World Series drivers get their engineers to message any info to help out with the commentary and let us know what's in case we miss anything.
Well, if I've got my engineer there, I'll get him to send you some information, like he's woke up. So, thank you very much, and see everybody tomorrow. Thank you very much, and I shall end the broadcast now. Cheers, Ray, for your time well spent this evening. Thank you. Good evening.